A hilarious new stand-up special from comedy legend Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is coming to Hulu November 22nd. This Thanksgiving, see Jim in a whole new light as he gives you the inside scoop on everything from parenting teenagers to weight loss and gaslighting family members. For everyone in need of a happy hour, the new hilarious stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, premieres November 22nd, streaming on Hulu. Why get all your holiday decorations delivered through Instacart? Because maybe you only bought 2 wreaths but have 12 windows. Or maybe your toddler got very eager with the advent calendar. Or maybe the inflatable snowman didn't make it through the snowstorm. Or maybe the twinkle lights aren't twinkling. Whatever the reason this season, Instacart's here for hosts and their whole holiday haul. Get decorations from the Home Depot, CVS, and more through Instacart and enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
Ask me, ask Iliza anything. It's time to ask. Ask me all your questions. Leave them in the Instagram comment section. Leave them on your Twitter or leave them on your Facebook. We'll see them, we'll read them, then we'll give you answers. You know it, I've got it. I've got the answer, you ask me. I'll tell you anything.
It is amazing as you get older, like the domino effect of sleep. Like I lost my voice probably Thursday night of last week, and it was kind of back Friday, and then Saturday I had I did my hour for Netflix as a joke. And I was like, the whole time I was like, I need hot water. Like I'm sure I'll get through it. And I woke up Sunday morning with like no voice, like literally like this. And Noah was out of town. So I was single parenting Sierra for a full day, which yes, I deserve a medal. I know every single mom is like, try doing it forever. It is the hardest thing in the world, especially with no voice. So it was just me like clicking at her like a horse, like the way I do to the dog. And I felt like such a scumbag because I was like, just sit on the couch. Let's just watch TV. And like we both fell asleep on the couch, which is such a scumbag move. Mommy's tired. I took her for like the saddest walk. And at one point she actually said, she goes, I don't want to watch TV. And I was like, I know, like you want to be enriched. I can't, I'm so tired. And then, so I got through the day and I had to get a steroid shot Monday morning at like 7:30 a.m. in my butt. And then I had a pitch and then I had a FYC event for Amazon. Like it was just, and the steroid shot kicked in after I left the pitch. And I was going very fast on every turn of Mulholland with my assistant in the car, listening to EDM. I'm just like, here's the thing about salads. Like, you're going to die in this car. Couldn't get to sleep last night. Had to take NyQuil. Couldn't sleep this morning because the dog was barking. Had to push my workout. Had to push. Like, it just, all this is to say, this is why I have to eat my breakfast while we do this podcast because I have to leave from here to go to 4 other things. And so if I had just had the right amount of sleep, I wouldn't be so tired this morning.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to talk about your really big show that looked so fun and I was jealous of everyone who was there? Or are you over it now?
I was just doing an hour and it was for the Netflix as a joke fest. And people were like, oh my God, are you nervous? I'm like, it's what I do for a living. It just happens to be a part of this festival, but it's not like a taping or anything. The real special is going to be in November in Salt Lake City, but it was a great show. And I know this is kind of gross, but I love sweating on stage. It makes me feel like a black preacher. Like I get off, I'm like, me and the congregation, we did it. Felt really good. And it was a great show. We had a really fun after party where we had a custom drink menu. And shout out to Diageo for sponsoring that liquor. And one of the drinks was Kettle One Botanical Vodka, and the drink was called Tianfu's Secret Garden. But it was just vodka soda.
Oh, you kind of scooped the Met thing, the Met theme.
What?
Wasn't the Met Gala theme something about a secret garden?
Yeah, so my biggest competition has always been the publicity for the Met Gala. But my favorite drink was a seed lip non-alcoholic mocktail called I Have to Be at LAX at 6 a.m. I don't think anybody drank it though. But that stuff is tasty. And so we're here. The voice is, I kind of sound normal, but it doesn't feel great. But we're here for your questions. And I want to tell you guys, we have in a few weeks coming up. Emily, do you want to tell them what we have coming up?
No, because we need more confirmed details. This is not how I
operate.
operate.
But we have our 300th
Oh, yeah.
episode coming up.
Okay,
This
yeah.
is not how I malfunction.
We're recording 291 right now, so do some math, and we are coming up on 300, which is kind of crazy to think about because that's what 50 episodes a year. That's 6 years that we've been doing this podcast, not even your other podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I guess I don't think about it because I've had a podcast since I met you.
Yeah.
I had a podcast for like 10 years.
Yeah. It was like 2013, 2014.
Yeah, but because it's like changed names or whatever, it's just like a thing. It's like working out. It's just like something that you do. And I guess in a sad way because it isn't our like, we don't have a billion followers. We're not breaking modern media. But 300 episodes, I guess, is a drop in the bucket compared to how long some other people have podcasted. But hey, we're lucky you guys are here. We love having you. We love doing it.
Yeah.
And now it's time for our new segment that is going to shake podcasting as we know it. It's time for Fight Me.
We have a timely Fight Me this week from Jessica in Tennessee.
Fight me. Mother's Day should be only for people who have kids at home and are actively in the process of raising children. Obviously, Mother's Day is coming up. So as a mom of 2 small children, it makes me very frustrated to hear when I have friends who are like, oh, I have to go, celebrate grandma and go to brunch and do all these things. And then mom, who is the one who actually needs a break from the little kids, is the one who is expected to do all these other things in order to like bow to a matriarch. Like, no, everyone needs to be giving the mom with kids at home a break. In fact, it should be more socially acceptable for Mother's Day gifts to just be like, here, go to the spa for the day, instead of, breakfast in bed and then mom ends up washing the dishes. Anyway, yeah, fight me.
Man, we gotta be less in alignment with our listeners.
Okay.
I will no fight here.
I had one that I was ready to fight with, but this is so perfectly timed that we had to get into it. We do
that's
agree
right.
with our listeners. Mother's Day is this weekend. Are you ready?
I literally don't care. I have to be honest. And I'm not going to fight you on that because she's right. Like, it should be you should honor your mother and like, hey, thanks. And you should really, it's kind of like Valentine's Day. Like, really? Are you not showing your partner how much you love them the rest of the year? Like, you need this special federally designated holiday. But she's right. I think people don't think about the amount of work it takes, like, to get your kids dressed, to make sure they don't like freak out at a buffet at a nice hotel. But I do think it's acceptable to give mom the gift card, like the spa day. I think a lot of moms, especially with kids who are younger, are like, I want a day off. And I do think that is totally socially acceptable. I would love breakfast in bed, but it would just result in Sierra spilling orange juice all over me, and Ethan can't use his hands yet. I guess, you know what? I think for me to say I don't care, I think I'll care more as I get older. Like, oh, I'd love a card made by you. I'm a pretty low-key mom, so I think it is whatever she wants. Noah's mom lives in LA, and I love her, and we love her. But it is that thing is like, well, if we do Mother's Day for her, then we have to invite his siblings, and then we have to invite, and then it becomes just like Noah cooking for everyone. And so basically what you're saying is the mom who's older, who's kind of done her thing, needs to give way to the younger mom who needs a break. I hear that. No fight here.
Right. So do something nice. I mean, you could send your mom a card and go visit with her and take her out, but maybe on the actual Mother's Day, yeah, the focus should be on someone who needs a break for a day.
Here's one, and I'm going to say this, trying not to sound like a misandrist, because I am far from that. For my Mother's Day, get rid of Father's Day. Here's why. They don't care. And it's really hard to shop for men. And as much as like you're hard to shop for, I'm like, I'm a girl. A candle will do any day of the year. My husband owns like 6 pairs of socks and like has been using the same laptop carrier for years and doesn't want a new one. Like this thing where it's like, get dad a tie. Why? So he can like hang himself at work. I just don't think, get rid of the pressure of Father's Day. Like no dad is like, where's my Father's Day? Every day is Father's Day. Just like when you were a kid, you're like, where's Kids Day? And it's like every day is Kids Day. And now I fully understand that. So let's get rid of obligatory holidays that you say that you won't do in the name of being a revolutionary and then kind of feel bad about not celebrating. And then you end up buying something anyway.
I think you should just ask for Father's Day, Mother's Day, the father or mother should ask for what they want to happen that day, and then you do that. The other person shouldn't be tasked with figuring it out. Just say like, hey, I don't want to see the kids, or I want to go to the botanical garden.
How about be comfortable in your own relationships? You can ask for whatever you want.
Yeah.
And every guy's like, great, steak and a blowjob. And it's like, well, I already get steak and blowjobs every day from my husband. So give me that blowjob.
Oh, no.
It's nice, cool air on your clam. All right, let's move on. What?
Now you want to move on.
Sometimes you get hot.
Is this because you think we don't have enough listeners? You're really trying to up the
Trying to
salaciousness?
make it spicy. If I really wanted more listeners, I would just start saying a bunch of racial, weird, flat earth stuff. And we would get all the foil hat wearers would come a-running.
Yeah, we could set up a Truth Social account. Go off.
Fall has fallen, winter is on its way, the days are shorter. But just because, well, they feel shorter. And just because the days feel shorter doesn't mean your to-do list gets any shorter. You still have to power through your busy days. And a great way to do that is with nutritious food from Factor's no prep, no mess meals. At the end of a short day in the fall or the winter, the last thing you want to do is have to cook. Factor has got you covered from breakfast, snacks, dinner, anything in between. Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled, like their chicken Florentine with spinach and garlic chili cauliflower. You bet. That's what I want to make myself at the end of a day where I am exhausted and my husband isn't home. Whether you like routine or you enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options you can add on, like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. And because Factor meals are chef prepared and dietitian approved, you're going to love not only Factor's meals taste, but also how they support your goals, even if your goal was just making yourself dinner. Head to factormeals.com/Iliza50 and use code Iliza50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month. That's code Iliza50 at factormeals.com/Iliza50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
The holidays are here. And for a lot of us, the holidays mean decorating, hosting, celebrating. For me, it means a lot of traveling. And nothing feels better year-round, but especially during the cozy holidays, than a restful night's sleep in soft, luxurious sheets. Boll & Branch's signature sheets are made with the finest 100% organic cotton, and they get softer with every single wash. You already know that I got Boll & Branch this summer when I needed breathable sheets to sleep in, but this holiday season, I'm actually gifting some of my friends and family Boll & Branch's Ultimate Softness Bundle. I get to choose a signature hem sheet set in any color, a signature hem pillow set, and a waffle bed blanket. And they're all getting juniper because I think it's a classy color. This way you know you have something nice to sleep on when you visit. It's the perfect gift for you and them. Gift you and your loved ones a better night's sleep with Boll & Branch. And right now is their best offer of the entire year. For 25% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets, head to bollandbranch.com/Iliza. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/Iliza for 25% off. Limited time only, exclusions apply. See site for details. So finally, fall is here. I have been looking forward to it. I have had a hard year in a good way. You know, like I had a baby. I have been on a nonstop tour, nonstop traveling, and it's been hot. So I'm looking forward to, of course, pumpkin spice, everything, cooler weather, and slipping into a cozy sweater from Quince. I've talked about Quince before. Quince has beautiful leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim, and so much more. All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Dressing expensive doesn't have to be expensive. Their clothing is beautiful, it's durable, it stands the test of time, and it's what I like to call a capsule wardrobe. I got an Italian wool cocoon coat. That's one of those, you know, it's got like a European collar and it covers my butt so I can walk around New York City and not be chilly. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. Get cozy in Quince's high-quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/Iliza for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Iliza to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Iliza.
All right. The title of this email, I think nothing has ever excited me more. Grocery store altercation.
Oh, let's do it. Hold on, let me settle in.
You have a nice big mug. This is perfect.
Cozy.
Dear Emily and Eliza, you asked for unique questions, and everyone I've talked to has never had a situation like this. It's been a few weeks since it happened, and I'm still thinking about it, so buckle in. I was out grocery shopping with my 7-year-old daughter at 9 p.m. at night. It was a long day already, but I had to get groceries as spring break was starting. I had had some upsetting news earlier in the day, so I wasn't in the best mood. As we finished up, we got in the long line of the only checkout that was open. Suddenly, another cashier approaches me and invites me to go to her lane that she is opening. For context, at this particular store, the customer bags their own groceries. Being a former grocery store employee, I unload my cart in a certain way so I can bag them more efficiently, cans with cans, boxes with boxes, etc. So as I was unloading my stuff, quickly I might add, and this man behind me also begins unloading his stuff and to hit the bell. So the area I had to put my stuff was getting smaller and smaller as the cashier was ringing it up. I gave her a look, which prompted her to ask if we were together. I said no and continued to unload. She politely asked the man to wait so I could finish. All of a sudden, I hear a thud on the conveyor belt. I look up and see this man picking up my bread and cookies that I had in the child seat area so it doesn't get smashed and tossing them onto the belt. I stopped out of a little bit of shock and asked him to please not touch my stuff that I had a particular way I liked things. He, middle-aged white man, said he was just trying to help. So I repeated that I didn't need his help and I like my things a certain way. He looked at me and said, I can tell since you're getting all huffy. I don't know what demon came out of my soul from hearing the word huffy, but I looked at him dead in the eye and told him, bug off. Both the cashier and my daughter were stunned. I proceeded to finish the transaction and hurried out of the store as I realized I am a woman at night with my child entering a darker parking lot, just the two of us. I've explained dark parking lot rules to my daughter so she knew what to do. I got my stuff loaded in the car and out of the parking lot before this man ever left the store, but I realized I put us in a vulnerable position. What would you guys have done in this situation? Thanks, a mom trying to teach her daughter to take no one's shit.
I'm sorry, did you say fuck off or bug off? Because it
Fuck off.
blipped. Oh, why is it making, say it again.
Fuck off.
There we go. It's coming, it's like off every time I hear it.
My mic is censoring me.
I think it's kind of like you genuinely never know what someone's been dealing with. Like you were at the end of your rope that day. He was trying to help.
No,
there's the way.
Someone reaching into your cart? No,
he was trying to help himself by doing it his way, and you should just be okay with it. I'm not saying like he was right or wrong, but I would say it's like half and half where that came from in him, and he was just not really considering your space or anything, as a lot of men tend to do. I don't know that it's always like a white thing, but I get that that's okay to say. There's what I would have done. I would have found like the little drop of funny. This is not saying that you should do this. I would have been like, all right, yeah, just give me a second. Give me a second. You know? And if he said something, I'd be like, just give me. Like I would have just deflected it. But I hear you. As a mom now, there are all these, my mom has this like story about like trying to fight someone in New York City. And once you have a baby, you're more like, you don't get into arguments with people, little spits because you have this child that you have to protect. And it's so frustrating. It's funny that you asked this because recently I've been like, oh my gosh, there's so many things, so many ways I would put myself at risk before, even just verbally, that I don't do now because I have an obligation to stay alive, to protect this baby and not scare her. So in the moment, I can't tell you what to do because in the moment we all act weird. Fuck off never gets you anywhere. What you're hoping is that that's just the right amount of crazy to get him to back up. But it's annoying because he was very quick to label you like a problematic. So that's so frustrating. I don't know that I would have done it differently. I think I would have just delivered it differently. Or I would have been like, can you just wait? I got to get through this. I would have just made it like, I would have known that he was annoying. And so I would have said something that would appeal to someone that dumb versus trying to like outmail him by saying fuck off.
It does. I just think the idea of someone reaching into my cart and grabbing my groceries fills me with such an inexplicable rage. I don't know that I would scream at him, but I would be so mad. I don't even know what I'd do. Like, I'm just thinking about it and getting furious.
I think whatever I would have said, I would have like been looking at myself saying it. Like my spirit would leave my body and I'd be like, am I actually telling this man like not to touch my cookies? You're not wrong. I think when you said I like things a particular way, that came off, like that makes it a little weird. Like the way I'm not saying you're wrong for feeling that way, but Everything is about the way things come across. And I think that's what quote unquote triggered him. And that's what, I hate to say it was your fault, but like made it an uncomfortable situation. Because he could have just been, there's no way that you don't know how to unload your cart. He was trying to get through it fast and he wasn't thinking about your space. I like things a particular way. I would not have liked that either. Especially if I was trying to help. I'd be like, ugh. But
yeah, but
whatever.
you would never
Fuck
do.
this
You
guy.
wouldn't reach into someone's car. I mean, here's the thing: you should have
Never.
I would probably the most I would do is like, why are you doing that? Why are you touching my things?
I'd be like, you got somewhere to be?
Do you want these?
You know-
Like, it's just weird.
I don't know. But yeah, it's, you know what? But you know what? I think what matters is that you were cognizant of everything and you got in your car and you left. Like you were cognizant of it, but you stood up for yourself. He was wrong, but your message back was a little weird, but it doesn't matter. Because in the future, I think you'll have this like in the forefront of your mind.
Imagine you're still standing there as like the lady's reading you out and your receipt's printing and you've just said fuck off to this man and he's standing behind you and everyone's just standing there silently waiting for your receipt.
That's delicious. And he's like, I guess I will fuck off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always a risk. Like you're like, I just want to show you how nuts I can get, like how rabid I am. And your hope is that, and it sounds like he just kind of stood quietly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know. It could have like hurt his feelings and now he's going to follow you into a parking lot. Carry mace, carry bear spray. Try to ignore as many people as you can. It's tough.
Yeah.
Oh, you little girl. But at least she got to see you. At least you got to see just how far mom's willing to go to protect your cookies. I think the bigger issue is that you have that talk with your daughter after about like women and the bullshit that we have to go through.
Yeah.
But also never say, I like things a particular way. That's like way too much information.
Right. Just
Especially
don't
in
touch my
bed.
things.
Don't touch my thing. I like things a particular way. Okay, you know what? Trying to make it saucy. Trying to keep it B, rated B.
B for what?
B for, it's B. It's on a sexy scale. A to Z, it's a B.
You're not even shooting for an A? What's an
No,
A?
keep
Is
it
an
B.
A when Howard Stern used to have like strippers on? Is that an A?
Oh, funny. I was thinking A was like the innocuous level of sexuality and B was just one level above.
Oh.
Something a little spicy on a scale that I made up. You know, the sexual alphabet scale. Okay.
Cheeriliza.
We'll just go.
Cheeriliza Emily and the whole AIA crew. I love the pod and have been listening for years. It brightens my day every time. To my dilemma. I, 39, female, am married to a wonderful man, 41. He's very handy around the house and does all kinds of repairs, renovations, and building projects successfully. Now, because it's a bit tight financially, he's thinking about doing car repairs and upgrading our windows himself. I think it's great that he wants to learn how to do that and save money, but I'm worried that he'd bite off more than he can chew. Especially the window project scares me because we plan to live in our house for a long time. So when the time comes, it needs to be done right and finished fast. How do I tell him that I value him and all his contributions, but want him to leave some things to the pros? I love him so much and don't want to hurt him. Love to you and your families, including fur babies. Kat from Germany. P.S. My girl logic lets me see all the outcomes at once, disastrous and not. Glad I have a name for that now. P.P.S. Our bottom of the cup was not seeing Iliza in Berlin last December because our car broke
you say
down on the
not
way. Not
Did you
seeing
say-
Iliza.
Come on, Emily.
Our car
you know,
broke down on the way. It was our 5th anniversary. Wedding anniversary.
Get on one of your horrible trains that's always late. I've told you about this, how you think Germany would be like on time, spit spot. Nope. The worst trains. It's like a joke. All right. Well, next time, because that Berlin show was delicious. Come be part of Bear City. I'm sorry you didn't get to make the show. You know, I feel like if he's German, he'll understand practicality. Like, of course, we should leave it to the professional, and I want to be on time and do these things right. But I think you just say what you said. You know, we get a lot of questions on this pod of like, how can I say this to my partner? Hopefully you're in the kind of relationship where at least you can be heard. And you can be like, you can say like, I think that you're great. I respect you. I want you to just do one project at a time. I think if you start with that, maybe he'll just forget about the windows. You might have to just be on top of him for that. Meaning like, you might have to ask the right questions when he's like, here's what I'm going to do. And then you're like, well, what about the installation? What about, you know, is there something about the way that he works that makes you think he couldn't do it? Or is it just like he's not a contractor, so he doesn't? I think you say all of that and at the very least ask him to take one at a time, like complete one thing first. Because he might, if you can't afford it, he might be able to do it. You just have to, I know you guys love reading directions.
The
I know you love writing
problem-
them because all of our kids' stuff comes with German directions and Dutch directions, and they are not thorough.
I guess the issue would be is he starts it thinking he could do it, and then he's pulled the windows out. You have big holes in the side of your house, and it's too much for him. Like, that's not something you want to realize halfway through. Like, he needs to really make sure he understands step by step, like, go through exactly what needs to happen.
But I think what we're getting at is you don't think as good as he is with the car stuff, you're like, that doesn't necessarily mean you can do home improvement stuff. And there's something about the way that he works that makes you think he may not be able to do it.
He's
So
not even good
I
at
think
car stuff. He does like repairs around their house, and his next 2 projects he wants to do are car and windows. So he's done stuff around the house, but nothing of this
I see.
scale.
I think you got to talk to him, and what you want to say is, what I don't want is to be on you, and what I don't want is to criticize you if you get it wrong. I just want to make sure that we're both going into this with our eyes open, because I don't want this to be like, oh, you didn't do the window right, now we're having to pay. Like, I don't want us to fight over this. So I just want to put our cards on the table. Eyes open. Make him convince you that he can do it.
Hi, Liza and Emily. My partner, 25 female, and I, 24 female, need someone to watch our somewhat crazy but sweet dog for a week in April. Now, yes, April is past, but this will be relevant in the future. We just returned from a week-long trip to New York, and one of my friends watched her for us. In 2 weeks, we're leaving for another week-long trip. For context, we both live in Oregon, 45 minutes away from each other. We don't really have friends or family out here that could watch her since we're both from the East Coast and are living here temporarily. The friend I could ask to watch the dog watched her on the last trip we took, so I would feel weird asking her again, especially since she told me she would do it for free. That leaves us with 3 options: my partner's coworkers, my partner's neighbor, or my roommate. My partner's not close with her coworkers, and they have all said no in the past to watching the dog. Her neighbor has 2 dogs.
That's not an option, by the way. It's just people you know.
Yeah. Her neighbor has 2 dogs and a kid of her own. My roommate has a new puppy she is training, and I'm worried our dog would interfere. Here's my question. Who are we supposed to ask to watch our dog? The dog is 1 year old and has a ton of energy. She needs a lot of attention and exercise, but is also cute and cuddly. I'm attaching a picture. Thanks in advance for your great advice. It's like a doodly dog.
Board your dog.
At a daycare.
When you get a dog, especially if you get a golden doodly dog, like if you spent money on a dog, get a doggy daycare. I know it's expensive, but having a dog is like having a kid. Like, it's your responsibility. You can ask that friend again and be like, but we'd like to pay you. We'll give you like $200.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. You can never ask her to do it again for a week for free. She was just being nice. And if she had a nice experience, it shouldn't be a big deal. But it sounds like you're maybe trying to do it without paying. And almost every problem is solved with money. You'd be surprised how a little bit of money usually fixes pretty much everything, except for death. You're going to die. You can extend it, but you're probably going to die. And just write her a note and be like, we are so sorry. This is the only option. Feel free to say no. We'd love to pay. I'd love to just throw you $200 for expenses. And don't make it like you're paying her. Be like, to cover if you want to order food in or do something fun, because you don't want her to feel like an employee. And if she says no, then just order the dog or consider taking the dog with you. It will cost you about $125 each way. I'm just saying, I don't know what kind of trip you're going on. A small enough dog, you could do that. So that's the answer. But the answer is a little bit of money solves everything.
Find a boarding place you trust and go now, because they have to do a little visit. They have to make sure that they get along with the other dogs. They have to make sure that your dog isn't a monster. You can't just day of be like, drop them off. You have to get some things in place. But I think it would be good to have that
and
backup.
Make some new friends. Make some new friends in this temporary home. That's my answer. It's tough. Also, like, I can tell you, Blanche, who was like a savior, definitely wore out her welcome with a few friends because she would lose her mind if you left the room. So, like, a lot of damaged property. Or do you have a house? Can you offer someone to stay in your house that like lives in an apartment and watch the dog? I've offered that before.
Yeah.
Like, we have a really nice house. So it's like, hey, leave your apartment, come hang out at our pool, sleep in this big bed, and just hang out with Tianfu. Literally all you have to do is walk her twice a day and feed her. Like, I don't know how much. So there's always that. You could always get creative with it.
Oh.
Email your friend and be like, hey, you live in a shit box. You want to come to our shit box instead? It's got a terrace.
A hilarious new stand-up special from comedy legend Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is coming to Hulu November 22nd. This Thanksgiving, see Jim in a whole new light as he gives you the inside scoop on everything from parenting teenagers to weight loss and gaslighting family members. For everyone in need of a happy hour, the new hilarious stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, premieres November 22nd, streaming on Hulu.
Everybody sleeps, but no two people sleep alike. At Coop Sleep Goods, we celebrate the way you sleep differently. We believe everyone deserves a great night's sleep with their own pillow, and the adjustable, customizable Coop pillow makes it easy. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or even a starfish, we've got the perfect pillow for you. Crafted with our innovative memory foam and microfiber fill, our hypoallergenic pillows adjust to you, not the other way around. Just tailor the fill for the perfect fit. Add some in, take some out, until your pillow's just right for you. See why luxury hotels and spas worldwide feature Coop Sleep Goods and why we have tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. With our 100-night risk-free trial, you've got nothing to lose, except those sleepless nights. Get up to 50% off selected items during our Black Friday Cyber Monday sale when you visit coopsleepgoods.com/comedy. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/comedy.
Moving right along.
Hello, Iliza, Emily, and all the babies for and otherwise. I fell in love with Iliza's comedy via Netflix and have seen her twice live in Vancouver, but I only discovered this podcast last year.
Come on.
Iliza, you're doing something wrong. This is on you.
Oh, I know. I don't know what to do. No, I try my best. Got a slide before the show that says I have it. We take ads. We advertise on other podcasts. I don't know. I'm sorry. You know what? It's that I'm a comedian first.
You are. Fair enough. You have a career.
And I don't talk about weird shit. I'm doing the best I can.
Since then, I've fully caught up and feel I'm well-versed in wisdom of the queen herself. However, I have a situation I'm finding myself in need of guidance. I'm a 34-year-old female in management and have been with my company for the past 20 years. I've worked hard. Yeah. I've worked hard to put myself in the position I am in today, but in my ambition to be a leader in a male-dominated corporate field, I've made some sacrifices to my personal life and put starting a family on the back burner. I mean, 34.
You've
so
been
she's
working
been
since you were 14?
14?
It's actually sad how long it took me to do that. I was staring at it. Okay, so, but that means it's like a restaurant. You started as like
It says it's corporate.
Maybe she started like in the summer, like filling boxes. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're a corporate genius who's worked as a CFO since you were 14. Okay.
I have always wanted kids in the future. In the last couple of years, my priorities have begun to change as I've realized that my time is slowly running out. So I took your advice and went and did pre-testing at a fertility clinic. Well, it wasn't the news I was expecting. After significant additional testing, I learned I have fertility issues, including a very low egg count. And my specialist advised that if I do plan to have a family, I have about a year to either try naturally or to freeze my eggs. This was devastating. I had told myself previously to stop comparing myself to my sisters and friends who all had kids, that my timeline is my own and there's no rush, as many women are having kids later these days. But now I am faced with the fact that I do indeed have a physical timeline. During this time, I had just started dating someone who was pretty wonderful, but I didn't want to put something this big onto a new partner. The universe decided to throw me a bone, however, as once I told him, he was completely on board with starting a family, which is unheard of. We started trying in December, and by some miracle, I got pregnant in our first month. We had about 2 weeks of total shock and excitement and planning for our future, only to learn that my pregnancy hormones were rising too slowly. We spent the next 4 weeks in an awful limbo, undergoing several tests until I unfortunately miscarried at the 2-month mark. To add to this, the miscarriage was incomplete, resulting in 2 rounds of failed abortion pills and then a successful D&C. It was a very difficult experience, but like many women in my situation, once we got through the thick of it, all we can now think about is getting our future back on track and getting pregnant again. Now to my current predicament. I am the general manager of a successful branch in my province. We're about to open another larger branch in the fall, and the expectation from executives is that I will be transferring over to open it due to my reputation and track record. I opened my current branch a few years back to huge success, and although the experience taught me a lot and was very rewarding, it was extremely It was extremely stressful and exhausting and took away all of my work-life balance for months until we got things up and running successfully. I was just notified that they will be selecting the GM of the new branch next month and are awaiting my decision. Here's the issue. No one in my company knows about my fertility issues or my miscarriage or that I'm trying to start a family. If I take this role and the salary increase that comes with it, what happens if or when I get pregnant again? I would still be able to help set it up and hire and train everyone and even launch it in the fall, but I would be going on maternity leave 1 or 2 months after opening, which is not ideal. I'm feeling insane guilt right now in considering this, as it would put the team in a tough spot to replace me at that time.
Who fucking cares?
But at the same time,
oh my God, no.
We're almost done.
Okay.
At the same time, if I take it, I can contribute a ton to the preparation, setup, and launch, and could hand it off in decent condition, pending no medical complications. And that's if I even am lucky enough to get pregnant again right away. So, do I decline to take the position and miss out on a well-deserved opportunity for career advancement and more money, but allow for a less stressful maternity leave, pending my body even cooperating? What if it takes a year to even get pregnant and I miss out? Or do I take the job anyway, set it up as best I can in the interim, and surprise my leaders with maternity leave at a somewhat critical and inconvenient time, knowing that I would be going into the position under somewhat false expectations by being unable to complete the full open? I am torn and I don't know what the right move is. Any guidance you can provide is so appreciated. Thank you for reading.
Okay. This company doesn't care about you. And in 60 years, you will not have cared about your company, but you will care about the child that you so desperately want. You don't owe them an explanation about anything that you're doing. One thing I would do in this next round of negotiation for this position that it sounds like you want, get them to pay to freeze your eggs. There are companies that do that. Ask them what they offer in the way of that, okay? I would look into that, number one. Number two, who fucking cares? If you leave them, they can replace you. Okay. You're not Stephen Hawking. You're not, they can and they will. And what you're going to find is that you will put your health on the line and everything on the line. And then for some reason you can't finish. They're like, okay, great. Well, you're fired and we got someone else. The company is not a person. It is fine. You have if you've been working since you're 14, you maybe have some money saved up. You need to do what's right for your future. And I don't know, there were too many options there. I think you need to take on as much work as you can while still being able to pursue whatever you need to do fertility-wise. This idea that what if I do it and I get pregnant? Don't worry about that right now.
Mm-mm.
Can you take this job and still get your shots or go for IVF or whatever it is that you have to do? Chances are yes. Don't worry about if I get pregnant. And if you do, legally, they can't fire you.
Mm-mm.
So don't worry about that. Just do what you need to do now. If you are this good at your job, other jobs will come along. Please do not make any sacrifices because of a company opening a branch. Is this Office Space? That's ridiculous. That's great that you've worked. That's great that you take pride in it. But you're telling me that a big priority for you is having a family, so much so that you're willing to do it with a guy that you started dating. You're not married yet, which is fine. This is what you want. You can work and do both. Plenty of people do it, but put yourself first. Because in 5 years, when that branch is closed because we have another fucking pandemic or something, you will have a child or be on your way to one or something. And this will not have mattered at all. No one at 90 was like, I'm glad I don't have a family, but look at this TD Bank shining on the corner of Smith and First. I helped open that. Now it's a Subway, but it was a bank for a long time.
Yeah. Your company is not thinking about, they're not behind closed doors I hope what we do doesn't torpedo her plans. They don't care.
They hope you die so they don't have to give you a pension or any payout. So don't worry about them and don't worry about if I get pregnant. They will find someone to step in. Please don't make the mistake of thinking what you do is so invaluable they can't find another branch manager. This has nothing to do with you and everything to do with just ticking boxes in corporate America. Fuck them.
Yeah. Hi, Iliza, Emily, and the gang. Iliza, congratulations on your baby boy. My question is about last names. I'm getting a divorce, and I don't know what to do with my name. Legally, I don't have a middle name. I have one within my family, just not legally. It's a weird situation.
Okay.
And I hate my married last name. It is unusual German, and everyone comments on it when I say it. And I joke that I don't know the origin, just married into it.
Okay.
As a usual German, da-da-da. I like my maiden name. It is simple to spell and common enough, but I got my bachelor's and master's while I was married, so my degrees have my married name. Again, this has come up before. And my 6-year-old also has his dad's last name. Part of me wants to move my married last name to be my middle name. I joke that I'll just collect middle names with any additional marriages, just so I can keep part of it, but I don't want to go by my married name anymore. I've also thought about hyphenating my son's last name to include my maiden name, but I
No.
have a feeling my soon-to-be ex-husband won't agree to that legal change, and I feel like I will lose some sort of connection if I don't have a name connection to my son. Sounds weird as I write it, but I know other women have said they've kept their last names for their kids, so I know I can't be alone with that feeling. Any words of comedic elder millennial wisdom is appreciated. Thanks, Jessica.
Jessica, a couple things. One, I don't know this, but we have a lot of women that are like, I got my degree with this particular last name. Can you go to the registrar of that school and be like, I changed it. Can I get another certificate printed? Because it's still you that got it. So I wonder about that. I enough people say it that maybe you can't change it. It's also a very simple thing to be like, I know it says one thing. No one's gonna, I care less about that because this isn't about you getting married and wanting to keep part of yourself. You're getting divorced. So why would you, I know a lot of women keep the last name, but you don't like it. It is hard to spell. Your life will be easier if you keep your original last name. You write your own story. Like, just change it. Who cares? Who cares what? Don't give your kid a hyphen last name unless you're like his moms are lesbians and they're both professors, because that's a very that thing to do.
But
it's annoying. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to look at a hyphen. Nobody wants to deal with two names. It's so annoying.
Should she make her middle name this family name so that there is still something there?
No.
Or at that point, does it not matter?
What do you want to keep there? You're getting a divorce from this person and the name is annoying. It's not like a cool name like Magnum, and it's hard to spell and your middle name is not even used. So now you're giving yourself a middle name that's a pain in the ass and attached to a relationship that's no longer solvent. So just use your old last name. I've told you guys this before. When my mom and dad got a divorce, my mom's maiden last name was Schleen, which in like Texas in the 90s, like wasn't like the coolest, but still, I don't know, I guess it's kind of German sounding. So she dropped Schlesinger, but Schleen was still a pain in the ass because there's an SCH. So she just changed it to Sloan. She made up a last name, legally changed it, and that's who she was. And like you said, like it's easy to spell, easy to say. No one gets weird and anti-Semitic. It was just easier. And as a single mom, you just want life to be easy. So I don't know if you feel a particular connection to that name, but it doesn't sound like you like it. Drop it. Don't look back.
Yeah.
No one's going to be like, oh, we looked at the paper. Well, it seems like this is your middle name and your kid has a hyphen. So we believe you're his mother. Plenty of people have different last names from their kids. You're talking to one of them.
Talking to one of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hi, Eliza and Emily. I turned 30 in July. My gift to myself is a solo trip to Iceland, but not until later in the year so I can see the northern lights. Since that's my big,
now, just
I'm
get ready because you may not. And they'll tell you can, but you can get there for a week, 10-day trip with your husband. You're not going to see him at all. It was really expensive.
Since that's my big, I'm turning 30 woohoo thing, I don't know what I should do on my actual 30th. I did invite a couple friends out to a concert the week before, but dislike the idea of turning 30 all alone. I'm single and my friend group is either traveling for the summer, live farther away, or are having babies. My best friend is actually due the week of my B-day, which is cute, but understandably means I'm not planning things with her. My family is spread out in different states. I'm usually very comfortable doing things on my own. Note, solo trip to Iceland. But it's a milestone birthday, so I feel like it should be a bit special. If I do end up spending my actual birthday alone, do you have any suggestions on ways to spend it? Also, what's the best thing you've done on your trip to Iceland? Thank you, Anonymous.
Okay. I don't know you, so I don't know like what floats your boat. But if you have to be alone, I don't know if it's pathetic or cute to do like a little Zoom birthday party and have like a little Zoom cocktail hour with your family. Or is that too like pandemic-y? You could order in like really nice sushi or go pick it up and like watch your favorite movie and like drink something nice. Like just do everything nice. Like go for a massage, like maybe spend money on something you wouldn't normally do. Also like, I know it's like at the stroke of midnight, I'll turn 30 and I get that you want to make it special, but there are like, you don't have to feel too much pressure. You can just make it a day all about you, or you could go do something in your city that you wouldn't normally do. But really at your core, like ask like what would feel the best? And if the answer is like just watching like Love Island all day, that's okay too. And it's a funny story looking back. I mean, my 30th birthday, Michelle and I flew to Dallas. We stayed at a hotel that I thought was going to be incredible and was totally mediocre. And then we went out to a club and one other person came. And then we ended up just like going to sleep. And then we were supposed to stay for one more day. And at 6 a.m., we both went to DFW and I went right and she went left. And I flew back to LA and she flew back to DC. And it was like totally mediocre. And there was one really nice bottle of champagne that psycho who I wrote the movie about had sent. And Michelle was so protective over this bottle that when a friend came over to the hotel, she hid it in the closet so that Jamie couldn't have some because it was too nice. It was whatever. We like went to dinner. Like it was nothing. It was bullshit. So don't buy into the hype. And the best thing I did in Iceland, I mean, you're going in the summer, so that's different because I went in the winter. So you're seeing like Selfoss and all these like ice and all these like waterfalls frozen, which is cool. Just driving around Iceland is like otherworldly. So just enjoy it for that. And if you want to eat one of the most incredible meals of your life, make a reservation in Reykjavik at a place called Oaks. And just trust me. That's where you should go eat. That's my answer. Oaks.
Yeah.
Tell them I said hi. Tell them me and Noah said hi. We met a lovely couple from Berlin who were definitely very sexually open. And they came to my show in Berlin, unlike that last girl whose car broke down.
Am I a monster mom? Dear Big Sister.
We are Big Sister.
Read in Transformer voice. I think Scott does that part.
I love it.
Let me start with accolades. I know. You love all his sound effects, though.
It's just me alone in my bathroom listening, like cackling.
Well, because you're here when we record the podcast, so the sound effects are the only like new surprise when you re-listen.
They are so me, but they are all done by Scott.
Yeah.
I praise him. I give all the praise to Scott, who's here, by the way. We just never let him talk. Scott, you say hi. You know.
Oh, thank God. It is so stuffy in that closet. You have no idea. Can I get some water? Okay, I'll just keep recording. Thank you.
There he is. There he is.
Let me start with accolades. When I moved from New York to California 3 years ago with 0 friends, your podcast was my only friend and still keeps me cackling while sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic on the 405. Don't worry.
Wait.
I made some...
Can I say one thing?
Mm-hmm.
We have like a lot of like gibberish words in our house, and sometimes Noah will say bumpity bumpo traffic because the idea of like being angry and be like, I was sitting in bumpity bumpo traffic for 2 hours.
It's just furious.
Bumpity bumpo.
You really can't have road rage when you're calling it that. Is that how he stays so calm? Is that how he contextualizes things in his mind, and that's how he keeps his blood pressure, heart rate low?
Bumpity bumpo.
Don't worry. I made some friends now, but y'all are still number one. I'm stoked to see Umbrea, and I'm bringing hubby and our British friends to the party. I am a 38 female, married mama of a 2-year-old girl with another tree frog currently on the way. I am an oncologist, a doctor who specializes in cancer. I know you know this, but maybe the non-nurses in the audience don't. And my job is, to say the least, exhausting, especially emotionally. I feel privileged to take care of patients and their families at their most vulnerable, but my cup is quite literally empty by the end of the day. My question. My husband and I both have time off coming up in the summer, and we are contemplating what we should do for a vacation. He obviously brought up taking our 2-year-old because he's a normal human being. Am I a monster of a mother since I literally cringed at the thought? Don't get me wrong. I adore my daughter and love spending time with her, but we don't
think you don't love her.
No.
We don't think you don't love her. Trust me. I get it.
Nothing screams not relaxing more than taking her on a flight with a different time zone to chase her around in a different location. We've traveled with her multiple times before, including long trips like Hawaii, and I've come back even more exhausted. She's sweet, but definitely can become a demon child at the drop of a hat. We even took her to Cabo a few months ago with both sets of grandparents, and it was still mediocre at best. My battery was on empty when we returned. Do I need to change my expectations, perspectives, and general outlook towards this? As someone who has traveled the world with your little one, am I just an a-hole for really not wanting to travel with my toddler? Any tips? Just FYI, if hubby and I go solo, it will only be for a weekend since we wouldn't want to be without her for longer. I'm more than happy to have a staycation too. The charm of SoCal has not faded yet for this transplant New Yorker. Hubby is a surgeon, but most of the parenting falls on me during the week just because of the nature of our schedules. Thank you for your wise words and thoughts, big sister. Much love, G.
G, not one mother listening to this is like, how could she not want to bring her daughter, bring her toddler? I think it's kind of like childbirth where once you do a trip with them, you're like, this is awful. And then a little time goes by, you're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to bring her? She's too young. Sierra is my heartbeat. And she was very good in Europe. But not only is it hard with her, it's hard on her. A time zone change, especially if like she's very good about her bedtime. Like we have a set in stone like nap schedule, and she goes to nap and then she has her snack and then she goes to bed. And it got fucked up in Europe. And that was hard on her little body. It's hard for your kid. And it's hard on you. And it's not fun. You're a little older, then you can go out and do stuff. But in reality, between the nap and them going to bed early, you really only get a few hours with them. And the whole time you're like, oh, did you poop yourself? Like, do I have to sit with you on the potty? It's not fun. It's hard without help. So either, it sounds like you have some money because of what you guys do. I feel like there's a lot of money in cancer. Either bring a nanny, but then you have to pay for the nanny and their time. So I don't know your financial situation. I think what you're asking me is to like allay any fears about looking bad. The answer is no. It's supposed to be a real break. Leave your child. And what you want to do, since you don't want to be without her, which I get, make that one weekend. And it can be, 2.5 days, 3 days. Because once you're actually away, I feel like it's more the fear of leaving them. And then it's like, okay. Because we went to Iceland without her. And I did miss her. And that was hard. But I think when they're a little bit older, it's a little bit easier. Make that weekend count. I'm going to suggest to you, since you live in Southern California, take a drive or a flight up to Northern California and go to a place called Post Ranch Inn. It is expensive, so you will feel like you took a long vacation, but it is perfect, serene, sylvan luxury. Or, jet down to Cabo, just the two of you, or find like a resort or somewhere. But don't feel bad about that at all. It's not a vacation. It's not a vacation.
No. And at first I was thinking, oh, you work so much and that you never get to see your kid. You spend so much time with your kid and you've taken vacations with your kids, and send the kid to the grandparents and enjoy a weekend of your own. Like, do it.
And you know what the good thing is? Like, you can always extend if you're like, yeah, because it takes like a day to get into vacation mode. For me, it takes like 2 days. Don't feel bad. Your child is fine. And it's good to remind yourself that they're fine. Noah and I, after we had Ethan, took a vacation to Mexico City for like 3 days. And I did it like chemically, I was very weird, but I did it to prove to myself, like, you're okay. Your baby is okay. You need to learn to be okay with this. It's healthy to take a break. So do a little bit at a time, but you are very, very normal for feeling the way that you're feeling. And I get it.
Yeah.
Take that break.
Hi, Liza and Emily. Diving right into the situation in question, hopefully the right amount of context. My friend Marie recently confided in me about her frustration with a mom in her neighborhood. We live in different cities. Marie and the other mom, Lorraine, both have kids in kindergarten and live within walking distance of their school. At the end of the school day, Marie walks to school and supervises her kids while they play on the school playground before heading home. Lorraine has gotten into the habit of texting Marie at the last minute that she's running late for pickup and asking Marie to watch her kid until she gets to the school. It happens often enough that if Lorraine's kid doesn't see her mom at pickup, she runs over and gives her school bag to Marie to hold while she plays on the playground until her mom arrives to take her home. Marie is a stay-at-home mom and Lorraine works from home. Marie resents that since she agreed to watch Lorraine's kid the first few times, Lorraine just assumes she'll do it whenever she's asked. Marie feels taken advantage of, but doesn't know how to refuse since Lorraine knows she'll be at school every day to pick up her own kids. I asked if Lorraine has ever offered to watch Marie's kid in return. Marie said she doesn't want her to. She just wants to be responsible for her own kids and for Lorraine to be responsible for hers. When Marie told me all this, I took her side. I don't have kids. Marie's my friend, and I don't know Lorraine, so I didn't question Marie's judgment. But I hear a lot about how hard it is to be a working mom and how badly parents need community support. In light of that, is Marie's every mom for herself attitude a little bit shitty? Curious to hear both your takes, particularly Eliza's as a working mom. Claire, P.S. Looking forward to seeing Eliza in New York City this fall. Boyfriend and I had tickets for the Beacon on the Back in Action tour, but couldn't go because our cat had to have emergency surgery. Kitty is fully recovered, and we are pumped that Eliza's coming back on this tour.
My thoughts and prayers are with your cat at this time. Surgery, his tail reduction surgery. It's a thick tail. I can't wait to see you in New York. It's going to be great. That's tough because I guess that's tough. I guess the answer is you don't really have to have a take because you're not there and it doesn't really matter. She feels taken advantage of, but I wonder if deep down it has to do with, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, you think I've got nothing else going on. It's also like, what is she really being asked to do? Like, is it just literally keep an eye? How old are the kids?
I don't know.
What did she say? Is it literally just keep an eye to make sure the kid doesn't wander off? Or like, are they little? So it's like, make sure they don't fall. Like, I guess where's her responsibility? And the issue is that Lorraine has never been like, oh my God, and here's some cookies. Or if they want to come over, it is not every mom for herself. It really does more and more take a village. And I always thought it was going to be an every mom for herself thing. We live in a place where like everybody has a nanny. But even with that, like the other day, my friend and her husband, they were moving just down the road, but it was a day of moving. And she was like, can I please drop my daughter with the nanny? I don't know when it became every kid has a nanny, but with their nanny off at your house. I already had my parents staying with me and everything, but I was like, yes, because she's my friend. I know that you don't know this woman, but she's a mom that needed help. Marie will need that help one day. So I think her situation is obviously different. It's tough. Because sometimes you don't really know to give compassion until you need it. But nobody likes to feel taken advantage of. I think the question for Marie is like, what is it that you're really upset about? And I bet you at its core, it's, I'm a stay-at-home mom, therefore I'll just be like the catch-all nanny.
Right. What if she needs to like take the kids to a doctor's appointment or leave early, but she's just waiting there for this other mom? I think it would be such a different conversation if Lorraine was like, hey, look, I usually have to work late Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you know you're going to be there, would it be okay? Like to plan in advance and be like, could you do me this favor rather than last minute when it's like, what are you supposed to say last minute?
Well, I think if it's last minute, then maybe it is like, I am stuck on this Zoom call. I cannot get there. Like, I don't know what she does or how she works. I do think that that's a fair thing to say as Marie, like, hey, I don't mind keeping an eye on your kid. Do you have any idea of your schedule coming up? Because I have things that I have to do and I never want you to feel like I'm leaving your kid. Like kind of put her in a corner so that she can be like, yeah, actually every Tuesday I need this. Because is it really costing her anything or does it feel, I think she's more irritated that it feels like, you just think I'm there to help you raise your kid. I wonder if the other mom's a single mom too. It is weird, like the space that it's hard to consider other women and their children when you're raising your own. One of my friends is a single mom with a daughter and I've never offered to watch the daughter. And I've never done that. Her daughter's a little bit older, but I'm so busy with hours that it's hard to make that space. And I feel bad about that because my mom was a single mom. And there's just a lot there. There's a lot socially. By the way, Lorraine could be totally married. I don't know. Tell her husband to step it up. But there's a lot socially to unpack with that. I had a very good friend recently. I was saying, my friend is a single mom. It's so much work. And the friend said, he goes, yeah, but she chose that. And the subtext of that felt very, and it was a man saying it, it felt very like, well, she's a woman. Like she got herself pregnant. She did that. Like, look at the mistake she made. She didn't. She adopted this little girl. And I said, yeah, just because you choose something doesn't mean you can't be frustrated when it's hard. Like, would you say that to someone training for the Olympics when they're crying because their body hurts? Like, well, you chose this. Like, you are allowed to make choices that are ultimately the right choice and good for you and be miserable at times. And there seems to be like a weird bit of hostility that we reserve for women who make the choice to be moms or are single moms or who try to do it all. Like, well, you wanted this. It's like, okay. That's like saying, I want a house. Well, you asked the bank for a loan. Like, so what, because you couldn't pay all cash? Like, you don't deserve something? Just this, there's an anger we have toward women when they can't do it perfectly. And I think you need to walk the walk and actually help other women when you can. There's just something there.
This expectation, though, I think is what gets me. I think it's one thing to offer to do a favor and another to be expected to do this thing multiple times a week. It's like with no consideration for what Marie is going through.
Well, I don't think it is. I think Marie doesn't have something else to do. And when she does, Marie can say, sorry, I've got to take the kids to the dentist. But she doesn't have that so far. There hasn't been a reason to not. Marie doesn't like that she just lobs it. So I think you're right to be like, hey, let me know when you need this ahead of time because we have a shifting schedule. You can lie.
Yeah.
And be like, and I never want you to feel stuck. Like, give her just a little bit of grace. But I get it. Nobody wants to feel like I'm just your solution. Then again, like if you're literally just sitting there for an extra 10 minutes or just sitting there, well, like, what's the big deal?
As a resentful person, it doesn't matter that if it doesn't actually inconvenience me. I don't like that person getting something out of me with no expectation to in any way pay me back. Like that there's no quid pro quo. Like I'm not your staff, Lorraine.
But you don't know that. You don't know that until you need it. And you probably will never need help. I'm guessing she's a single mom. You'll probably never need her help, but you might. And I know that you're like, I'll never leave her at her house. Well, maybe your kids will. And I don't know how old they are, but just this idea that you might never need help is silly. There's just a lot there. And I think we've talked. Okay. So we said what we said. Is that what we said? Ask your friend what the issue is, what the real issue is at the root of it.
Top of the Cob.
It's the top of the cob. You're doing it right every day. You just take a bite. Top of the cob.
My top of the cob, I'm working with someone and we had a meeting at a big studio the other day. And before the meeting, he's a producer and I asked him, I was getting coffee. Shout out to Priscilla's in Burbank, the best. And I was like, do you want a coffee? Which I never do. I never offer people coffee. And he was like, yeah, iced coffee. So I brought him an iced coffee. So we're sitting there in the waiting room before we go into this big meeting. And he drinks his coffee and there's a little bit left and he sets it on the floor. And as we're all walking in with the whole team, I go, oh, did you want the rest of your left? And he is the nicest guy. He's like a father and he's just like a really like happy, like big teddy bear. And as we're walking in, I go, did you want the rest of your coffee? He goes, no, fuck them. They didn't pick up my show last season. And he left it deliberately in the waiting room. And I was like, I am so here for that level of petty.
Yeah.
Because I would do the same thing. Like, fuck, even though it's going to be just like a maintenance person picking it up. It has nothing to do with anything. Probably not even the same people that work in there. I love that under this big happy teddy bear was someone with like seething rage for the industry.
Yeah.
No, fuck. And he just had it ready like, fuck them. They didn't pick up my show. So I'm leaving my small iced coffee with oat milk in their waiting room. And it made my day. Just knowing that other people can be as like tiny and shitty and small as I am.
Yeah.
I loved it.
All right.
That was my top of the cob.
Okay. Fan top of the cob from Susan. My top of the cob is when you finally muster the energy to do some real thorough spring cleaning and your home rewards you with treasure. My hall closet alone yielded a couple of cute newsboy caps I haven't worn in years. Now they're back in rotation and I'm getting compliments every single time. But that's just a little.
Are they compliments for a newsboy? Is that how we're defining that feedback?
Well, you can give.
That's great that you're saying it as a compliment.
You can give tips.
Oh, good, you found it. Oh, that's amazing. You were able to find those.
Give us some feedback in person because she says the huge, fantastic top to eclipse all tops. Obviously, as I just bought myself a ticket for Iliza's Get Ready tour. I'll be seeing you in Vancouver, BC, the week I turn 37. I will be front row center, flying solo and laughing my ass off. Can't wait. And an unexpected bonus top. I checked Spotify to see if you were building a playlist yet for this tour, and now I'm the first one following it.
You found it. Oh my gosh, I love that. I forgot I should make those things private. Wear that newsboy cap
so that you can
in the
judge.
front row. And if you have meet and greet, remind me that I made a snide comment. Maybe it is cute. Maybe it's fun to look like a fly girl from 1992. Let's see. Take it.
Bottom. Oh, I guess I do my top.
Well,
My
your
top.
top.
I
You're
was
a
ready to
person.
move. I'm a person. When you're petting any animal and they push their head into your hand, or what just happened to me, when they rest their head on your foot, you know, where it's just like, there's a certain kind of affection that feels like it goes beyond just like, yes, I like getting pet, and into like, oh no, I like you. Like,
yeah. No, it's personal and you can't move your foot.
No. Like my parents have
You
a
don't wanna
demented
move.
elderly dog who has no idea what's going on or what's around her. But if you pet her head, she like moves her head into your hand. You're like, oh, you do still remember something.
I love that. And I love
when you hold out your hand and they put their chin in your hand.
Yeah.
Like when I'm driving, I'm just cupping Tianfu's head.
Yeah.
Special beef. Okay, bottom of the cob. Mine's super simple, which is what this segment was designed for, not like heavy social topics. I love everything bagel seasoning. The bottom of the cob is at the end of the everything bagel seasoning. It's mostly salt and poppy seeds. I think the salt is heavier than everything else. So you just end up doing it on your avocado and then it's just like salty and then it's in your teeth. It's just like a lot of salt. It should all be weighted equally. Everything should be cut so that they're all weighted equally. Fuse those garlic bits together because I think they're very light. Just the end is just a lot of salt is all I'm saying. My throat hurts.
I'm sorry. It's hard for you.
That's fine. I think, please send your thoughts and prayers to my P.O. box. You go ahead.
Fan bottom of the cob is a complaint about me. Hi, AIA crew.
Oh, wow.
My bottom of the cob is getting to the end of the April 10th episode. We've got a Dalmatian mix in the back when Emily called my profession liars. I am a 50-year-old CPA that has been a tax professional for over 25 years. During my hardest work days this year, I listened to AIA on repeat, including the ads, in my earbuds for a laugh, a red hot take, and your comforting voices. As a Gen Xer, I love Iliza, Emily, and the podcast. I saw Iliza in Philly last November and rewatched her specials on the regular. Hearing Emily say that really made me sad on my 13-hour workday. I work really hard to help people navigate the often complex process of completing and filing a tax return. My job is not easy or glamorous. Telling someone they owe $100,000 or more in taxes is never a fun phone call, but I do it with respect and a good attitude so that I can build a lasting relationship with my clients. Emily should find a knowledgeable and nice CPA like me. Then she could have someone else doing the heavy lifting of preparing her tax return and ultimately get a better opinion of tax professionals. Best regards, and there's a full signature. I'll just say this person's first name, Carrie. Okay, let me say here to this listener.
I'm just going to let you wiggle and writhe.
You're telling me you don't think H&R Block are dirty liars. You're full of it. Based on your signature, you have your own practice or you work for something separate. H&R Block is ripping people off. They're garbage. I will not back down off of that. I should not have said in general because sure, individual practitioners are not all monsters. H&R Block are dirty liars. But I'm sorry that you had a bad work day. I'm poor. What does it matter?
Yeah, in the way that like chemists on their own are trustworthy scientists, but when you work for a pharmaceutical company, it's the entity we have the problem with.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Not that I want to defend you. I love that finally someone's coming after you. Well, Carrie. All right, go ahead.
Look, you're not getting enough hate like what lawyers, everybody's like lawyers are liars. I'm sure there are probably nice lawyers and there are nice CPAs.
Well, they're laughing all the way to the bank.
I know. Well, so are the CPAs.
Yeah. I don't think it works that way. I don't think it's like they get your tax refund. Like, I don't think
H&R Block did when they're like, it'll be $1 million for us to do this all kind of wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
But I am sorry that I hurt your feelings.
There we go. That's not what we wanted. You know what? Carrie's probably like, hey, I'm really good at my job and we get a bad rap and I'm out here doing the most and the best. Gen X not getting any respect.
I mean, it's like working for the IRS or something where nobody thinks about you until they're mad at you 1 month of the year.
I mean, I think this shows to go you for the woman in Vancouver who is really excited about opening that branch. Like, just remember, the parts equal the whole and people hate the whole. So you work for a corporation and they don't care about you. So It's nice to hear a cog step out. I mean, Carrie works for herself, but a cog going out on their own and not being part of the machinations of a blood-sucking corporate machine that we all must suck on to live.
Gross.
A lot of mixed metaphors there. But I think the takeaway is that Emily got taken down a peg today.
My bottom of the cob besides...
Why can't I hear you laugh? Why am I just hearing you laugh? But like you have to laugh into the mic so people don't think you're just... Worst person I know.
My bottom of the cob besides hurting Carrie's feelings is it's starting to get to that level of heat where like, you know, when you wear shorts and you stick to your chair, because I now have like leather-ish furniture in some parts of my house because it was already here. I like bought it as part of the house. So I'm sticking on my chair just like, why am I back in Georgia? Why is this happening to me?
It's leather sticking season. I feel like you bought your couch at a store called like Leather. It's leather with like a question mark. It's heating up, folks, and so is the show. We're gearing up for that 300th episode. We have hopefully a very special episode planned for that. We have something in the works, and then we have hopefully a fun announcement coming after that. It's such an annoying tease.
I know.
But just know something great's happening. As always, writing your questions to what's the email? Or how do you want to do this for the fight?
Okay, so send in your voice notes and your questions to askelizapodcast@gmail.com. We do still take things via Instagram, but I've found that your question will get answered more quickly via email because it's just more organized.
If you're hearing this podcast, it's going to be Wednesday, May 8th. And so I wish for those of you to whom it is applicable, a happy Mother's Day. I hope you don't have to spend it with your children and you spend it getting drunk, swinging on hers. Until next time, remember, Emily was wrong.